Hey everybody, this is Yuri with WP Soar, and today I'm going to go over my favorite theme with WordPress, and it's called Enfold. It's available on themeforest.net, and it's developed by an author called Creasy, and this has been the theme, my go-to theme for years now. It is extremely flexible, has a lot of capability, and it's pretty easy to use. As you can see, it's got 86,473 sales. It's got 8,500 comments, 5 out of 5 stars, 4.85 average based on 6,000 reviews. That's pretty impressive. And best of all, they have an incredible support team. So if you ever have any issues with their theme, all you have to do is submit a support ticket and they will answer for you. They're a really, really great company. I am absolutely obsessed with this theme and I cannot stop recommending it. So before further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the back end of Enfold and check it out. So here it is. This is what the actual Enfold options looks like. Now we can go ahead and select the front page here, and that will override the settings in our WordPress reading settings. You can select your front page here. And then, of course, here's where you can put your logo in. It's very intuitive. You can put your favicon or your icon in here, and we have a video about what the heck a favicon is. In general, it's this little icon right here that appears with your tab or browser. You have your ability to select the type of lightbox modal window that you have selected with your theme. This is by default checked, and I would recommend leaving it checked because the modal window that Enfold uses is called lightbox. There's a lot of cool capabilities with it. You can trigger the pop-up box beyond just pictures, but for the standard features, it is just the pictures that pop up with the lightbox. You can also lock the advanced layout builder. This one locks anybody who's not an administrator from modifying the layout of the pages or post. This could be pretty useful. This is the advanced layout builder, and we'll go over the advanced layout builder a little bit later in the video. But in general, this is a pretty cool feature if you have multiple users on your WordPress. You have web-safe fonts for fallback for Windows. This is for older browsers, primarily Internet Explorer, and you can have the web-safe fonts activated. You can have automatic schema.org HTML markup. This is a generic HTML markup that's actually adds additional content for search engines, and by default it's activated. And here's a Google Analytics tracking code box. Very convenient to have a nice tracking code box there. Okay, and now let's go ahead and go to our general layout settings. As you can see, this is a rough preview. This is basically what the site's going to look like just by the general layout. Now, we have the ability to have a stretch layout, a box layout, or a fixed frame layout. And as you can see, there are options. As soon as we have a fixed frame, we can have the frame width and select a number of different frame widths. And you're not restricted to that. You can always override that in other ways as well. And you can have top header, you can have the logo in the main menu either in the top header left sidebar or right sidebar. And you can in general, I use a stretch layout instead of a box layout or even a fixed width layout because a stretch layout is generally the most accepted. It would be like the most responsive mobile display layout. It's pretty nice. You can have dimensions here, and this is basically where you are able to select a responsive size and also container widths. Again, default settings are usually just fine for most websites unless you want to change your container width and maybe your content to sidebar ratio, and they pretty much have covered every base here. You can do 50-50, which would be a really weird looking site, but you can certainly do that here. You can also have your content plus your sidebar width to make it equal 100%. Sometimes you may want it less. Again, these are really fine for default settings. I really wouldn't mess with these too much unless you really know what you're doing and you really want to change the actual layout of your site, or you're building a different site than a standard brochure, e-commerce, or other type of site. Now, if we go into our general styling, we have dozens of ways to select the type of layout or the type of style that we would like, and these are built-in styles. You can literally just select these guys and it automatically selects the colors. Since we like blue here at WP Soar, I'm gonna go ahead and select a let's go with bright blue. Maybe we can even do blue-ish. Oh, that's nice. It looks like a business theme. You know what? I'm going to go with bright blue because it's nice, bright, colorful, just in time for spring. And here we go. This is where we can actually fine tune all the colors of each area that we'd like. Now there's a lot of settings here, and each one of these tabs represent the different types of content for each type of area. So it's infinitely customizable, and you can literally select it however you'd like. Now Enfold does come built in with many fonts. The fonts are Google fonts, and they're all available. You can always install custom fonts as well. There's plenty of ways to do that. You could just type that in Google, and Enfold already has a tutorial on how to do that. And these are the fonts that come preloaded with the theme. I don't know why you would need more fonts than this. This is plenty for most types of websites. Again, I don't want to say all, but for most of them. Here's where you can select your default content size, and this is a really useful item if you want to globally change the content size. And of course, they didn't skip this. This is a really important thing that I find lacking in a lot of themes. Usually for you to edit CSS, you have to go to a parent's editor and edit your child theme style.css file. But in this case, if we don't want to do that and we're just being a little lazy, we can just drop any CSS edits right here. And it's really quick, it's really efficient. You just hit save all changes and it saves it for you. Again, these are pretty much all the settings here. You can also select, when you go into your logo area, you can select the background image for your logo. Again, there's tons of preloaded things that you can check out with this, and it gives you an idea of how you want that background image for your logo area to appear. And you can have it scrolled or fixed. You can have it repeated, tiled, horizontally or vertically. As you can see, there's a lot of options here. And let's just go ahead and select. See, this is the background. It gives you a little preview. You don't even need to save it, but you can see it right there. So let's just select, wood light. There's nothing there, so most likely there is nothing that's going to be there. But you can select the type of background. That's what it's going to look like. Again, I don't really use these features because I think it's a little bit overkill. I like a very simple, very plain design that's more geared towards looking at the content on the page as opposed to the pretty images all over the place, but to each his own. So we hit save all changes, and it says, all right, Sparky, all options saved, so we're good to go. Moving on, we're going to go into our advanced styling area. Now, this is really designed for people who know what they're doing. You can actually select individual elements to stylize. So let's say we want to change H5, the H5 tag here. You can always edit it in CSS. But if you want to edit it here, instead of actually using CSS code, you can edit it right here, and it's a visual editor. Super simple to use. Again, drop downs, really intuitive. It's exactly how I would imagine it should be. And you can apply it to any individual section. So if you only want H5 for your main content, you would select it here, and then you can save all changes. And again, there are a multitude. You can always change it on the CSS level too, but this is built into the theme, so you may as well utilize it if you have it available. Moving on, let's take a look at the header. Now, this is a really important section because the behavior of the header is going to dictate essentially what the first thing the user is going to see. The header layout, we can have left logo menu right, logo right menu left, logo left menu below, etc., etc., etc. Basically, anywhere you want the logo to appear versus the menu is available here. And you can select the size of your header. You can have slim, large, and you can see the large is just a larger area, or you can select a custom pixel value. I like to keep everything simple, so I like to select the slim option for the header size. And you can always have separators between menu items. Separators are these little bars, and you can stylize them with CSS again later on, or you can have really large separators. I don't like to have separators at all. So I keep it pretty simple. And you can have the header styles. You can have it with borders, active menu, indicator, and slightly transparent. No borders with indicators or transparency. Or you can have a drop shadow with no borders or transparency. It's however you'd like it to appear. Again, there's basically an unlimited amount of options for the header style. And the header title and breadcrumbs, you can also adjust the header title and breadcrumbs on individual posts and pages just by selecting it. You can globally select it here, and it'll default to the setting, or you can select it in each individual post or page. All right, now we can check out the actual behavior of the header. We can have the header be sticky at the top. It would stick to your site if the user scrolls down, and if that's ignored by smartphones because you have a smartphone menu, it's a little bit different. But this is basically as the user will scroll down, the menu will stay at the very, very top. Let me show you an example of what I mean by that. Let's just go ahead and go to the URL demo. You can actually see it on wpstore.com as well. But on the demo site, as you can see, I'm scrolling down, and the icon minimizes to its small size, and you can see the menu at the top stays sticky at the very top, and you can see all the lovely cat gallery pictures and the cat rolled up there in that carpet. So that's what that sticky means, and we are going back to header behavior, and then we can select if it shrinks. So if we want the header to shrink as the user scrolls down, we can take a look at it there. And we can also unstick the top bar. If we check this box right here, the extra information will no longer stick to the top, so it'll just stay there. So we can also let the logo and position adapt to the browser window. So that's basically how big the window edge is. It matches the edge of the browser instead of the actual width that's set by the theme itself. Now, again, many customizations here. Again, I usually leave it just the 2 defaults. There's really not a whole lot else you can possibly need. And I mean, sometimes it depends on your application, but in general, for most sites, this is just fine. And we can always append, when we go into the extra elements, we can append a search icon to the main menu, and we can also append social icons. We can add a secondary menu at the top left or the top right, and we can display extra phone information, including the phone number and any extra info you may want to include. So if you want it to be included there, you just select where you want it. It'll be on the left or the right hand side, and you can type in a phone number or anything else there. And then we also have the header transparency. So the transparency options allow you to basically have 2 versions of your header, of your logo. One is transparent logo and one is a standard logo. So if you've seen those sites where it flips colors when you scroll down, this is what the theme is capable of doing as well. It's sometimes very distracting. I don't really like that feature. I don't use it a whole lot, but it is there in case you'd like to use it. And then we also have the mobile menu option, the header mobile menu activation. So this is only for smartphones, browsers below 768 pixels, or we can do browsers and smartphones for smartphones and tablets. That's width below 990. So if you want it to be displayed with tablets, but in general, tablets can usually adapt to the full menu size anyway. And you can also hide submenu items from mobile menus if you don't want them to be visible. All right, now I'm going to take you through these sidebar options. We can have the sidebar on archive pages, blog pages, single post entries, and on regular pages. We can also display the sidebar on smartphones or and page navigation on sidebars. This is for subpages of a page automatically. There's a lot of different things you can do with the sidebar here. You can just basically select where you want it, and you can always select custom sidebars as well in appearance widgets, and we can select what kind of sidebars appear and where. But that's on posts and pages, individual posts and pages. You can also have it displayed with a border or no border, and you can also create. This is where we can create the sidebar widget areas that I just mentioned. The footer allows us that's at the very bottom of the page, and allows us many options here as well. We can display the footer widgets with no socket. We can display the socket with no footer widgets, and we can display the socket and footer widgets. The socket is simply the area right here, right beneath the footer. So here's the footer 1, 2, 3, 4, and the socket is displayed below there. And again, it's pretty standard to have four columns for your footer, but you can select as many as you'd like. And then in general, your site will say copyright WP SOAR, copyright your business name, but it will also have powered by the Enfold WordPress theme. And this gives Creasy a backlink to his website. So if you want to be generous and provide a backlink, you can simply leave it default. If you don't, you can just insert no link, save, and then that link for that backlink for the theme will disappear, and you'll be left with just your copyright information right there. You can also have social icons displayed in your socket if you have them activated in the social profiles tab. All right, now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Enfold blog layout, and we can have the default or elegant blog layout. Yeah, and I don't know really, that's just a styling thing. I would play with it and see what you like more. And you can have the here are many options for the blog layout. In general, I really like to select the advanced layout editor to build your own blog layout. So you can actually customize the appearance of your blog by using the advanced layout editor. So whatever page you set as your blog page, you can use that page to dictate how that blog is going to look. So you basically build it in Pages, add new, use the advanced layout editor, which we will go over in just a little bit here, and you will be able to customize your blog from there. And then we also have these single post options. You can have multi-author blog displays. It displays the Gravatar author besides the author entry, and a feature image above. I generally just leave it with the big preview featured image. This is the default setting. It's just fine. And then you can have the related entries show thumbnails and display post title and tooltip. Related entries, these are based on tags. So if you don't have any tags that are related, then it won't display any related post, but it does have this built in. So just to be clear, you don't need additional plugins to display related posts with Enfold. It has a lot of these features and really takes away a lot of the necessity for pretty much many of the built-in many other plugins. You don't need a whole lot of plugins when you're using Enfold because it just is loaded with functionality here. And here are your blog meta elements. You can display the author, the post date, your comment count, blog post category, if it has allowed HTML tags, and regular blog tags. And then you have the share links at the bottom. Now this is also a built-in feature in Enfold. You have shareable entries. So if you don't want to use another plugin, you can simply just use the shareable entries and click on that. These will display your social profiles just fine. Speaking of social profiles, let's check out the social profiles. They have pretty much all the major social profiles that you would like to add in here. And these social profiles allow you to effectively select how many you want them displayed and where you want them to be displayed using the other settings. So these are the social profile settings that I mentioned earlier. By default, Twitter and Dribbble are mentioned here. And then we have the newsletter functionality. It does have integration with MailChimp now. So this is a really neat and relatively new feature of Enfold. I think it came out with their latest release where you're able to actually input a MailChimp API key, and then you're able to actually input MailChimp contact and form information directly into your pages in your advanced layout editor. There's a MailChimp option there, and we'll go over that, and that's really cool. You do need to use an API key for it to function, and it automatically pulls a list from your MailChimp. So obviously MailChimp is a really big email provider for many blog owners, and as well as many small to medium-sized businesses. So it is a really good idea to integrate MailChimp. It's one of the major email providers. It's not the only one, but it is a big guy. And you also have, so if you need some inspiration on how to build your site, the neat thing with this is you don't need to import demo content with XML. You can import demo content by clicking on the import buttons here. It is super simple. They've got plenty of demos here and different designs that they've tried. And these are pretty much the modern way of modern website designs here. It does have the layer slider and other features. I mean, it's endless. So there's a lot of different ways you can actually utilize Enfold and their demo content to build your site right out of the gates. And then here's your import and export theme settings. Let's say if you want to, just keep your theme settings with you at all times in case, something happens, you get hacked, or you don't have a backup of your theme settings. It's always a good idea to export your theme settings, and it goes right there. So those are your theme settings. You can also import that same file. And finally, you can also import icon fonts. So there's the Entypo Fontello fonts are default with Enfold, but you can also import additional icon fonts. And the instructions are right here on the right-hand side. And if you ever need to update your theme, you got to input your theme florist username and API key, and the explanation is right here. Simply save all changes and your theme stays updated. Really, they have thought about a lot and added a lot of different features into the theme. It's pretty robust. It has a lot of different, it has a lot of capability here, and you're pretty much all set when right out of the box with Enfold. You just start customizing it. Now, of course, there is a lot of customization that needs to take place to build a full site, and you can build a lot of CSS out with it. But for the most part, if you're still just getting you're just getting used to WordPress and you're fairly new to the platform, this is a great place to start, especially with the demo content. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the advanced layout editor. We're going to click on pages. Again, you can activate the advanced layout editor for blogs, though it's not by default. It's usually just lives in its pages. So here's a little pop-up. I don't really read the pop-ups, so you're going to ignore that. And we're going to go ahead and start building out a page. So this is what the standard WordPress editor looks like, and we do have this little magic wand here for all the shortcodes. Now, if you want a more visual approach, click on the advanced theme editor, and it's beautiful. Here we have a blank template. Now, it doesn't look like much yet, but now we have the ability to basically build out any type of site that we want. Well, this will be for the home page, so we'll just type in home page here, save it as a draft, and let's start building a home page. I'm not going to build an actual home page, but I will show you a lot of these features and options that Enfold does have built in. So let's say we have a 1-1 column. This is 1 out of 1, meaning it's a full width, full size column taking up the entire space, and you can reduce the space by using these arrows or increase it by using these arrows. Now, every one of these columns, first of all, you can save them as a template if you want to have them here, and you can just move templates around and have, let's say if you have a standard design for every page in mind, make it into a template, and then you save it in your templates right here, and you can pull it out whenever you'd like. You just click on it, and then you can save the entry as a template, or you can save the column as a template. Now, every one of these columns will have options, and there's a load of options inside each one of these columns. We have layout for the padding, that's all CSS elements. We have the borders, so we can have the radius of the border. We can select the type of border that we want. And we can even select the colors of it with a custom background color or a custom background image. And now we can even select an animation for the column. It can rotate, it can slide in, it can fade in, it can pop out, pop in. There's a whole bunch of different animations for this. And it's the new CSS3. It can be a little bit distracting, but in general, it's a pretty cool feature. Now, color section is a little bit different. If you're looking for a way to do parallax scrolling, you select the color section, and then you can add in additional columns within the color section. So these columns represent just what's inside of the parallax area, and you can also duplicate your columns right there. But inside of the color section here, we can take a look at the padding. We can take a look at the border styling, the section top and bottom border styling, minimum heights, and then we can even have custom CSS IDs associated with this. Even better. So if you want scrollable hashtag when a user clicks on a menu item or user clicks on a link, you can pretty much put any kind of anchor text in here and have it as a section ID. For the section background, you can have you can select the types of colors that you want. And you can even select custom background colors and a custom background image. Now, when we insert an image, let's just do a custom, let's do clouds since we have clouds. We can select if we want it to be fixed, parallax, or scroll. I like parallax because it's really cool. As you scroll, the image kind of scrolls with you in the background, and it has this really cool effect. And you can position the background image. You can have the type of repeat that you want for the background, and you can even have a background video. So again, you've seen those modern sites where you go to them and there's a video playing in the background. Yeah, that's the parallax, or rather that's the background video, and you can do that right here. It could be Vimeo, it could be a YouTube, or it could even be a video that you uploaded on your server. So the possibilities are endless. And you could always have a section background overlay on top of everything else, and you can have the overlay opacity, and you can actually select the color. So if you have a background image that's kind of busy and you have a lot going on, you put an overlay on it, and then you can put some text on top of that and have a parallax scroll. And that's a style and design you see on WP Soar. You can always select the background image of your overlay as well, and there's tons and tons and tons of different options here as well. So again, there is a lot of, and you can even upload your own overlay image here as well. So you can have maybe an image of a cat and an image of a dog overlaid on the other one. The possibilities really are endless here. And so let's move forward and let's take a look at all these content elements. This is a really cool feature of Enfold. They've thought about just about everything in here. Now, I'm not going to go over every single option. Maybe I could do that in a future video, but for now, let's just take a look at all these different items. We have text block, we have a separator, white space, a special heading, so that's H1 through 5, or H1 through 6 for the special headings, icon boxes, and these special headings. You can do that with the text box as well, but they look a little bit nicer. It's just a faster way of having a nice bolded text box right there. You can have a box with an icon in it. Again, customize the heck out of it. You can have a list of icons, an icon on its own, a headline rotator. So this is a text rotator, so it basically just rotates text, kind of like a slideshow but for text. Buttons, you can have a full width button. You have content slider, so you have individual elements of a content slider, a notification box, tabs, accordions, promo boxes, contact form, blog posts, magazine blog posts. So it's a nicer way of displaying your blog posts. Again, a neat way of actually capturing your blog posts and building out your own blog post page. That's what I was referring to earlier in our Enfold settings. And then you have our portfolio grid masonry elements. So this is a way for us to display our blog entries with a masonry grid. Team member table. Team member represents images of a team, so if you have a big team on your site, you can display each individual team member there with a little bio. You can have a table, you can have progress bars, and the table can be pricing tables and regular tables. You have progress bars, full width submenu, so you can have individual menus built into the pages themselves, post slider, testimonials, catalogs, animated numbers, animated countdown, and here's the MailChimp sign up that I was referring to earlier, a widget area, social share buttons, comments, and if this isn't enough for you and you want some custom HTML, JavaScript, or even CSS, you can include it right here, and you just open this up and include your code right here. Pretty remarkable, and you can even escape the HTML code, disable shortcode processing, or deactivate the schema markup. So there's quite a lot of capability here, and again, the sky's the limit, really. You can build whatever kind of page you would like and whatever kind of site you would like. And then here are the media elements. If you want to add an image with hotspots, a video, an easy slider, a full width slider, a full screen slider, featured image slider, accordion slider, advanced layer slider, which would be this guy that's built into the theme. It's an advanced layer slider, which I don't really use because it is pretty resource intensive. I like to keep my sites light and very quick loading, but it is pretty useful for having cool animations. You can have a partner or logo element there, gallery or masonry gallery. So these are for your images, and a Google map. So it really has a lot of features built in. And these are the just standard features of Enfold. It's pretty much everything you can ever imagine in a theme, and I can't imagine what else you can possibly need besides these features. It's pretty robust, and it's really nice and intuitive because it's built on a drag and drop engine that's very visual. All you have to do is drag the content where you want it, and you can take a look to see what it's going to look like in the preview, and that'll be that. And it's very, very simple. You just kind of build your site out like that, and it looks professional. It looks very clean. It's mobile optimized right out of the gates. There's very little adjusting that you have to do if you just want to build a very standard site. And to make matters even better, Enfold is one of the few themes out there, and one of the free premium themes that is supportive of WooCommerce. It supports WooCommerce and the display of WooCommerce, and it actually displays the products beautifully. So if you're looking for a good WooCommerce theme, Enfold is the way to go. It adds new options in here, so when you add plugins that Enfold supports, it'll add them additionally as you add them. So you'll have more elements that you can even play with here, and that's ways to display products in different groupings and arrangements, and the sky's the limit. Really, it is. The Enfold theme is the way to go if you're just getting started with WordPress and you need something really professional in a shorter amount of time, with plenty of options, and it can be as complex or as simple as you'd like it to be. So if you'd like me to do additional tours or do a deeper dive into all the options of Enfold, or if you have any questions about how the theme functions, I would definitely refer to the developer site. But if you have any questions for us on how to use this theme, or if you want another theme tour, just let us know which theme tour you would like, and we'll go ahead and include that on one of our future videos. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to our channel.